Once there lived a king named Alaric. He was known through many lands for his fairness. People said he was wise. Yet even King Alaric had moments when his inner peace would vanish. A small thing could sometimes stir a great storm within him. He often wished for a calmness that was deep and true, a peace that would not leave him so easily. He knew his kingdom prospered when he was calm, but his own heart often felt like a restless sea, easily troubled by the winds of small events. One bright morning, a servant, young and nervous, accidentally spilled a cup of wine. The dark liquid stained a newly signed treaty. It was a document of great importance, a symbol of peace with the neighboring realm. The king, who had been feeling content moments before, felt a surge of hot anger. His face turned red, his voice, usually measured and kind, boomed through the hall. He spoke harsh words to the trembling servant. The joy of the morning was shattered for everyone present. Later that day, the king sat alone in his private garden. The anger had passed, like a sudden storm. In its place, a heavy feeling of regret settled upon him. He looked at the treaty, now blotted and imperfect. He thought of the servant's frightened face. The king realized his reaction was far greater than the small accident. The spilled wine was trivial, but his response had caused real hurt. He understood that the true disturbance was not the stain on the paper, but the storm within his own mind, a tempest he struggled to control. He longed for a way to hold onto his peace. He wished to be like a calm lake, reflecting the sky, not a turbulent ocean. Why did small things have such power over him? He often pondered this question. He knew that true strength was not in shouting or showing anger. True strength was in a quiet mind, a steady heart. He decided he must seek wisdom, a way to master these impulsive feelings. His peace and the peace of his court depended on finding this inner stillness. King Alaric heard tales of an old hermit. This wise man lived simply in a small cave on the quiet slopes of a distant mountain. People said his eyes held the calm of 1,000 peaceful dawns. The king, determined to find a better way, decided to undertake the journey. He traveled for many days, leaving behind the comforts of his palace. He sought not riches or power, but the treasure of a peaceful mind. He hoped this hermit could teach him the secret to lasting inner calm, a way to gentle the storms within. When the king finally reached the hermit's dwelling, he found a man with a gentle smile. The hermit listened patiently as Alaric spoke of his quick anger and his longing for peace. The wise man did not offer grand pronouncements or complicated rituals. Instead, he pointed to a tall bamboo swaying gently in the breeze outside his cave. "Observe the bamboo, your majesty," he said softly. "It bends with the wind, but it does not break. It is flexible yet deeply rooted. Your mind can be like this bamboo, acknowledging the winds of events without being uprooted by them." The hermit then spoke of the breath. "Your breath is an anchor," he explained. "When the storm of emotion rises, return to your breath. Feel it enter, feel it leave. In that simple act, there is a space between what happens and how you choose to respond." He shared a simple truth, one often overlooked. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom, a wisdom echoed by thinkers like Viktor Frankl. The king listened, feeling a new understanding begin to dawn within him. King Alaric spent several days with the hermit. He learned to sit quietly. He learned to watch his thoughts come and go, like clouds in the sky, without clinging to them. He practiced breathing with awareness. The hermit taught him that true power was not about controlling events outside himself. It was about cultivating a calm and clear mind within. The king realized that being a ruler of a kingdom meant little if he could not first rule the kingdom of his own inner world. He returned to his palace with a lighter heart, carrying the seeds of mindfulness. In our modern world, many years later, lived a man named Ethan. Ethan was a dedicated project manager in a busy city. He was good at his job, but he often felt overwhelmed. The constant emails, the tight deadlines, the needs of his family, it all felt like a relentless pressure. Like King Alaric, Ethan found that small things could trigger big reactions. A critical email could ruin his day. A delayed train could make him fume. He often felt his heart racing and his mind in a whirl, unable to find a moment of true rest. One Monday, Ethan received an email from a senior colleague. It pointed out a small oversight in a report he had submitted. Ethan immediately felt a flush of defensiveness and anger. He quickly typed a sharp justifying reply, hitting send before he truly thought it through. Later, he learned his colleague's feedback was meant to be helpful, not critical. His hasty response created unnecessary tension and awkwardness. At home, his child's playful mess in the living room made him snap, his voice harsh, instantly regretting the fear in his child's eyes. Ethan recognized this pattern in himself. His impulsive reactions were not solving problems, they were creating new ones. They strained his relationships at work and at home. He felt a constant knot of stress in his stomach. He longed for a way to feel more calm, more in control of his responses, not just his tasks. He saw his colleagues who seemed to manage stress better, who responded thoughtfully rather than reactively. He wondered what their secret was, this ability to stay composed amidst the daily chaos that so often overwhelmed him. He started to search for answers, much like King Alaric sought the hermit. He read articles online, he listened to podcasts about well-being during his commute. He came across the concept of mindfulness. At first, it sounded too simple, perhaps even a bit strange. Could just sitting and breathing really help with the immense pressures he faced? But he was tired of feeling reactive and stressed. He was willing to try anything that offered a glimmer of hope for a more peaceful way of living and working. Ethan began his journey into mindfulness with small, hesitant steps. He started by dedicating just 5 minutes each morning to sit quietly. He focused on his breath, just as the hermit had advised King Alaric. He noticed how his mind would wander, filled with to-do lists and worries. Gently, he would bring his attention back to his breath again and again. It was not easy. His mind was used to racing. But slowly, he began to find moments of quiet, tiny islands of peace in the sea of his thoughts. He started to practice creating that space between stimulus and response in his daily life. Before reacting to a challenging email, he would pause. He would take a conscious breath. He would ask himself if his initial emotional reaction was truly helpful. Often he found that a calmer, more considered response was far more effective. When his child made a mess, he learned to breathe first, then respond with more patience and understanding. He was learning to observe his emotions without letting them dictate his actions immediately, a profound shift. The positive changes were gradual, but noticeable. Ethan found he was less stressed. He felt more present in his conversations. His colleagues remarked on his newfound patience and thoughtful approach. His family life became more harmonious. He was becoming a better leader, a more understanding partner, and a more patient father. He realized that mindfulness was not about stopping thoughts or emotions, but about changing his relationship with them. He was learning to navigate the waters of his mind with greater skill and compassion. Ethan understood, as King Alaric had before him, that true strength and peace come from within. The wisdom of the ages, from ancient kings and hermits to modern seekers, pointed to the same truth. As the Buddha taught, the mind is everything, what you think you become. And Confucius reminded us, he who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. Ethan's journey, like the king's, was ongoing. Each day offered new opportunities to practice, to breathe, and to choose a mindful response, cultivating an inner peace that enriched every aspect of his life.